Hello, welcome to In the English Corner. I'd like to talk about something called parts of speech today. Now, words are the foundation of sentences, and they can be divided into what's called parts of speech. Keep in mind that every word that you select in a sentence has a value, it has a function, and in order to write well-constructed sentences, it's a good idea to understand the importance of every word in your sentence. So let's look at these 9 parts of speech. One is called nouns. Now, a noun is the name of a person, a place, an object, or an idea. And it's a good idea to know how to pick a noun out in a sentence. I've given you some examples of nouns. Persons would be, a noun would be the word woman, or if you actually named her and you called her Dr. Green, those are nouns. Places are nouns such as Minnesota or river. Objects like ring and hamburger, and any idea or quality is also a noun such as freedom and beauty. Now there are 2 different types of nouns. They're called common and proper. Let's look at the difference in these. A common noun is a name that is common to a whole group of persons, places, or things. These nouns are not capitalized because they're referring to general things, such as lake, city, and brother. Those are examples of common nouns. Proper nouns, however, have capitals because they're individual names of persons, places, or things. So you always start them with a capital letter, such as Lake Erie would be the name of the lake, Toronto is the name of the city, and David Green would be the name of a person. Also important to know when you're writing nouns, there are both singular and plural nouns. And let's take a quick look at the difference between a singular and a plural noun. A singular noun just names one person, place, object, action, or quality. However, a plural noun, plural means it's 2 or more places, objects, ideas, and qualities. Now, most singular nouns can be turned into the plural by simply adding an S. But there are some nouns, like the word child, that do have an irregular plural. Let's look at this chart for a few quick examples. The first one is apple would be the singular. To make the plural, you just add the S, apples. Child is an irregular noun. The plural of child is children. You would add the REN. Box, the plural is boxes. You add an ES. Student is students. Add the S. And piano is pianos. So there are different rules, which we'll discuss at a later date, to explain how to turn the singular noun into a plural noun. The second part of speech I want to look at is called pronouns. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. So instead of repeating the same word over and over, instead of saying John went to the store, John bought an apple, John then went to the movies, you would replace the pronoun with he or he, she, rather than being repetitive. So the purpose of pronouns is to eliminate the repetition of the same noun in a sentence. Let's take a look at these examples that I provided for you. The first one, the phone rang, so I answered the phone. You're saying the phone rang, and you're being repetitive, and you said, so I answered the phone. In the second example, June reads several novels every month. She reads several novels, so you've repeated the same idea. It becomes redundant, boring, repetitive. She reads several novels because she is an avid reader. So to add variety to your writing, to avoid the repetition, let's see what we can do. For the first sentence, you could have said the phone rang, so I answered it, referring to the phone. In the second example, June reads several novels every month. She reads them because she is an avid reader, referring to novels. So in this case, you're using pronouns to replace the noun, and this is called an antecedent. The noun that the pronoun refers to is called the antecedent. So them becomes an antecedent. It's replacing the noun novel. It is an antecedent. It's replacing the noun phone. So let's now look at the different types of pronouns, because there are a lot of different varieties of pronouns. One is called personal pronouns. They're used in place of people's names and to refer to things. And I've given you a list of singular personal pronouns are I, me, my, mine, you, your, yours, he, him, his, she, her, hers, it, and its. And then there are plural personal pronouns, more than one, which are we, us, our, you, your, yours, they, them, their, and theirs. So let's look at a couple of examples. The first one. When the tea is ready, Jane will serve it to the guests. So instead of repeating tea again, you've replaced the word tea with the pronoun it. So in this case, tea is the antecedent that's being replaced by the pronoun it. In the second example, Susan misplaced her shoes, but her father found them. So instead of repeating the word shoes, shoes is the antecedent, and you are replacing the word shoes with the pronoun them. So you're not being repetitive. A second kind of pronoun is called compound personal pronouns. They're formed by adding self or selves to certain personal pronouns. And they're words like myself, ourself, yourself, himself, etc. And they take on first person, second person, and third person. A couple of examples: the children clean the house all by themselves, referring to the children, or I ate the entire pie myself, referring to the fact that I ate it to myself. Another type of pronoun is called an indefinite pronoun. And indefinite means it doesn't refer, it's not definite or specific. It doesn't refer to any definite person or thing. And there are different examples here to take a look at. Indefinite singular pronouns are words like another, anybody, anyone, anything, one, each, either, everyone, everybody, everything, neither, nobody, no one, someone, and somebody. And then there are plural indefinite pronouns, which I've listed for you. They include both, many, few, and several. Just so that you understand the value of these words in a sentence and how to use them and why they're important to understand the meaning and the definition of these words. The next one is called a demonstrative pronoun. If you demonstrate something, you're pointing out, you're showing something to a reader, referring or pointing out. So demonstrative pronouns refer to a definite person or thing, but they're words like this, that, these, and those. Example, those are my pictures. Those is referring to the word pictures, which you talk about later. Or do not use them or I will get angry. So them is referring to, for example, my shoes. Don't use them, meaning my shoes. So those are called demonstrative pronouns. The last type of pronoun is called an interrogative program. Interrogative means asking questions. If you interrogate somebody, you're asking them questions. So the pronouns that are interrogative all ask questions: who, whose, whom, which, and what. And those are all examples of interrogative pronouns. And a couple of quick examples: who is going with me? Or what is the correct answer to the question? So those are interrogative pronouns. So that's just going over some major examples of pronouns and different terms to familiarize you with them. And now I'd like to look at the third part of speech. The third part of speech is crucial to all sentences. It's called verbs. And keep in mind, please, that a sentence is not complete if it is missing a verb. Every single sentence has to have at least one verb. So a verb is a word that tells of an action or a state of being, and the verb tells you what is happening in the sentence. What is happening? And let's look at the different types of verbs. The first one is called an action verb. Just what it says. It shows action in a sentence. It tells you what's happening, what is the subject doing, what action is the subject performing. Let's look at these examples. The students wrote their test in the exam room. There's the action, the fact that they're doing the writing. John fell on the ice as he walked home from work. He fell on the ice. And then the next one, I love to travel to warm climates in the winter. Love is the action. And I bake fresh bread every morning for breakfast. Bake would be the action verb. Another kind of verb to familiarize yourself with is called linking verbs. These verbs, called linking verbs, link or join the subject to a noun or an adjective in the sentence. They will tell you the subject's condition or the state of being of the subject. And we'll look at some examples in a minute to make it a little bit clearer. But here are some common linking verbs. The verbs am, is, are, was, were, have been. They're all forms of the verb to be. They're all linking verbs. And other linking verbs are the verbs appear, remain, seem, become, sound, taste, and look. Let's look at these examples. The sky was deep blue. So it's not an action verb because you can't see the action, but you know it's a verb, was, because the linking verb in this sentence, which is was, is joining or linking the sky to this word, because it's basically describing the sky. So it's linking the deep blue sky, the deep blue color to the sky. In the next example, I feel happy when I get together with my friends for the evening. Feel is the linking verb. And it's linking your ideas of how you're feeling, what makes you happy. And in the third example, she appeared to be angry when I came late to the party. That word should be she, sorry. She appeared to be angry when I came late to the party. That's also linking the verb she appeared to describing how she is, how she seemed to be when she came to the party. So it's describing the girl as she came to the party. The third example of verbs and type of verb is called a helping verb. And the helping verb is exactly what it does. It's assisting the main verb of the sentence. The main verb cannot stand by itself, and it's often more than one word. So the word that goes next to the main verb is called a helping verb. And the main verb can be joined by one or more helping verbs. Let's look at some examples. You can start the dishwasher after dinner. The main verb is start, the helper would be can. Or in this example, the guests will be arriving for dinner very soon. Arriving is the main verb, will be would be the helper verbs. So here is a list of the most common helping verbs, and they're often verbs from do verbs, be verbs, and have. They're all forms of to do, to be, and to have. And here are some of the most common helping verbs: must, might, may, can, shall, will, could, should, and would. And I've given you in this chart a sample of a helping verb, a main verb, and you put the two together to be the complete verb. So if, let's say, your helping verb is had and your main verb is been, your verb in the sentence would be had been, like he had been working all day. Was is a helper, the main verb is going, so your full verb would be he was going, such as he was going to the store. Should have is a helper, left is a main verb, he should have left me alone. Might have been is a helper, the main verb is seen, I might have been seen going into the store. And the last example is being are helper verbs, the main verb would be written, so your full verb would be it is being written right now. And moving along to the fourth part of speech, which is called adjectives. Let's take a look at what an adjective is. An adjective is a word that describes or modifies a noun or a pronoun. Adjectives in a sentence will tell you which one, what kind, how many, or how much. So let's look at some examples of adjectives. For example, which one? Words like this, that, these, and those. So this car is expensive. It's modifying the word this is modifying car. It's telling you which one. What kind, such as words like sweet, sad, tall, and quiet. In this example, the quiet mood filled the room. So the adjective is quiet because it's telling you what the mood was like. In the last example, adjectives are words that refer to how many, such as few, all, most, or three. In this case, 3 employees is telling you how many employees, so 3 is modifying the noun employees. Also keep in mind the importance of adjectives. They add description to your writing, they add meaning and depth to your words and thoughts. They enable you to be a lot more descriptive and colorful in your writing. Let's look at these examples. The man drove his car down the street. Okay, in this sentence there are absolutely no adjectives. It's a very simple, boring sentence. However, if you were to add adjectives, look how you would spice up the sentence. The young man drove his shiny red sports car down the busy street. You've got young, shiny, red, sports, and busy. So all those add depth to your idea. Or in this example, adjectives, keep in mind they also come before the nouns usually that they're describing. She has beautiful, large, green eyes and long, sleek, dark hair. So you've got 3 adjectives describing the noun eyes and 3 adjectives describing the noun hair, and they all come before the noun and they add depth to your sentence. The 5th type of part of speech to know about is the word adverb. Adverbs, unlike adjectives, they modify or describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. And like adjectives, they add description and variety to your writing. Now, how do you pick out adverbs? There are a couple of ways. 1, adverbs frequently end in ly. Looking at these examples, the music played softly in the background. Softly is the adverb describing the verb played. How did it play? It played softly. Or other adverbs can be words such as he had a very busy day at work. He complained very loudly about all the work he did. Adverbs can also tell when, where, how, or to what extent. So another example of an adverb, where, the table is outside, it's an adverb. When, he rented the car when, yesterday, that's an adverb. How, the weather changed, how, drastically, or to what extent, he was completely wrong. And a few other examples of very common adverbs are never, always, often, just, very, and well. Okay, then we have the 6th part of speech is called conjunctions. Conjunctions are connecting words. They join ideas. And there are 2 types of conjunctions, and you will hear these terms quite frequently, coordination and subordination. Coordinating conjunctions are joining words, and they join 2 equal ideas. Let's look at some examples. John and Bob are late for work, so they missed the staff meeting. We've got one coordinating word here, and so. So the coordinating conjunction are John and Bob join the 2 nouns, and you got the coordinating word so, which joins the 2 equal thoughts. Here is a list of coordinating conjunctions: and, but, for, or, so, nor, and yet. Here are some examples of coordinating conjunctions. Hockey and football are my favorite sports. I love to read novels and short stories. I like pizza with olives, but not with peppers. And so these are joining 2 thoughts. And we also have this one: not only was I late for work, but I also missed the staff meeting. The other kind of joining or coordinating is called subordinating words. Subordinating refers to the combining of 2 clauses which contain ideas that are not of equal importance. So one idea is more important than the other. The more important idea is called the independent clause, and the lesser important idea is called the dependent clause. When subordinating conjunctions are added to groups of words, the sentence can no longer stand independently, so it becomes a sentence fragment or an incomplete thought. Here's a list of subordinating conjunctions which you should familiarize yourself with, such as after, although, as if, as long, as though, because, before, even though, if, even if, in order that, provided that, rather than, since, so that, though, unless, until, when, whenever, where, wherever, whether, and while. So let's look at some examples. When she wants to be extra warm, she wears her hat and scarf. We have the clause, when she wants to be extra warm, which cannot stand alone. It has to be joined to another idea to complete it. So when is a subordinating conjunction. Or after she completed her essay, she had a long, relaxing bubble bath. You start with your subordinating word after she completed her essay, and there's the rest of your idea. And she completes 10 minutes of exercise before she eats her breakfast. Your coordinating word is in the middle of the sentence. And then the seventh part of speech are called prepositions. Prepositions are words like in, of, over, beside, and with, and there's a list of prepositions right over here for you to refer to. The preposition and the object are called the prepositional phrase, and prepositional phrases are used in sentences as they add interest and more information to your sentences. For example, Mr. Smith was running late for his meeting. For is the preposition. For his meeting is the prepositional phrase. The gift from my husband was purchased at my favorite store in the new mall. From my husband is a prepositional phrase. At my favorite store is another one, and in the new mall. And the employee with the highest sales will receive a large bonus at Christmas. There's a list of common prepositions that you should look at and keep in mind. And then the eighth rule, the eighth part of speech are infinitives, and infinitives are words that are preceded by the word to, and they may be used as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Example, to survive was their only concern. That infinitive is used as a noun. The adjective, the new mall is a wonderful place to shop. You're describing the mall. And the adverb, the plane is ready to land. It describes land. So a couple of more examples. To succeed in this job, you must work hard. That's an infinitive. My dinner seems to be burned. And my sister came to tell me. So those are not the main verbs, because in each of these sentences, the main verb is must work. In this one, my dinner seems is the verb, and my sister came. So you can see that the words to tell, to be burned, to succeed are not the main verbs. And almost finished. The last type of part of speech is a gerund. Gerunds are verbal nouns. They always end in ing, and they're used in almost every way that nouns are used. Running is my passion. It's like the subject of the verb. John loves cooking. Cooking is the object of the verb. And she wrote an essay about skiing. That's the object of the preposition. So those are no longer considered the verbs of the sentence. They're almost more like a noun. The ninth part of speech is called participles. This is the final one we're looking at. And participles are always used as adjectives, and they modify or describe nouns or pronouns. Examples, the present participle would be starting. The past participle is started. The perfect participle is having started, and the passive perfect participle would be having been started. So looking at these examples, thrilled, we accepted the winning prize. Thrilled is a participle. Never having won before, we did not have a speech plan. Having won would be the perfect participle, and speeding along the highway, the police pulled us over. So please keep in mind that every single word in a sentence, it has a function, it serves an importance, and it can be classified according to its meaning and its use in the sentence. So be careful when you're writing to select your words carefully, and whether it's a business letter, a resume, a memo, or an academic piece of writing. Thank you very much.